Hello, good morning, whenever time of day you're watching this. Um, from your vantage point, presumably, this video is being uploaded. You're watching this a week after the last collection video that I posted, which would have been a week ago or 2 weeks ago, depending on my frame of mind. From my vantage point, I'm starting to record this literally 5 minutes after I finished the last one. So I'm doing these in batches for the most part, and I'm trying to, I'm trying to make it so that I could upload these on a regular basis, at least until I'm done with the whole thing and I covered the whole base, and I got well over, last count, well over 1,200 games to cover, more or less. So, yeah, so I'm going to try and blow through these as quickly as possible. But if the last video was any indication, there might be some rambling, like I'm doing right now. So, anyways, next up on the list for our second collection video, circa September 2015, we're doing Nintendo DS games. And to reiterate, this is not Nintendo 3DS, what you have now, where you can watch games in 3D or whatever the case may be. It's the regular Nintendo DS that came before your current 3DS, but after the Game Boy line, whatever the case may be. Anyways, to give you an example, this is a Nintendo DS Lite, which is the second, or like the first revision, and has a number of nifty features. It has like a crimson shell on top, it has a matte black finish here, has a stylus, because you can't go wrong with a stylus. You open it up, you have your two screens, like that. You have your microphone there. There's no camera. There's no slider on, where you could change it to 3D. The screens are the same size. You have your D-pad here, you have your 4 buttons here. You got your triggers there, and you only have one slot to put in your Nintendo DS game cards. And in the bottom here, you pull this out, you could play Game Boy Advance games, which is something that you could do with the first 2 versions of the DS. The next revision that they came out with, the DSi, you didn't have this. You had like an SD card slot, and you could take pictures or something, because Nintendo figured that people wanted to take shitty looking pictures with their DSis or whatever the case may be. I'm only speculating. I've never seen a DSi. I'm sure the pictures come out fine. I guess I wouldn't know. I honestly don't care, by the way. So please save yourself the efforts in trying to make an impassioned defense towards the DSi. Anyways, this Nintendo DS Crimson matte black thing came with a game, and that game is Brain Age 2. More training in minutes a day. I got some mileage out of it. It's a nice little activity. It keeps track of how long you've been training and all that stuff, and it even includes some Sudoku puzzles, which I guess you could never go wrong with Sudoku or something. I don't know. Fuck, whatever. Anyways, so let's blow through these rather quickly. You got Dragon Quest IV, Chapters of Chosen, basically an updated version of Dragon Quest IV on the Famicom, or as we know it, Dragon Warrior 4, which I have on the NES. And frickin' love that game. You got Final Fantasy III, which is a remake, updated version of the Final Fantasy III game that appeared on the Nintendo Famicom, and not the one that we got on the Super Nintendo, which is actually Final Fantasy VI. It's the one with a bunch of jobs and stuff like that, and Onion Kids and stuff. It's been a good long while. Final Fantasy IV, which is a remake of Final Fantasy IV, or as we know it, Final Fantasy II, that was originally on the Super Nintendo. Has seen a number of ports and remakes and remasters, or whatever. Anyways, I dig Final Fantasy IV, so more than happy to get another version of that. And I got quite a few versions of that, actually. At the Legend of Kage 2, or Legend of Kage 2. For those, I'm sure there's a proper Japanese pronunciation. I don't care. Wasn't a fan of the original Legend of Kage arcade game or the NES game. I kind of like this one better. Although opinion on this is kind of mixed, but that's just me. And we got New Super Mario Brothers. Back when it was New Super Mario Brothers, and not just another brand that they used to release a sequel for their new console. So, which I thought was a return to form. It was, it was Super Mario in 2.5D, whatever you want to call it, and it was a great game. And certainly if you wanted a base, to build future games on, it was a good base. So I can't really complain. And I got the one on, I got this new Super Mario Brothers on Wii, and I thought that was pretty good too. So, but calling it new at this point is kind of redundant because it's pretty much the same engine. Super Mario 64 DS, where they added a bunch of extra characters that you could play as to try and dull over the pain of trying to play the game with a D-pad that, especially this was on the N64, and that used an analog stick, and you don't have an analog stick, you have a D-pad, and it's kind of, anyways. I like Mario 64 just fine. I don't care for this one, unfortunately. I gave it the old college try, but the only thing I could say, it was cheap. That's all I could say. Didn't like it. I'm not saying it's good, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying, not a fan. Power Rangers Super Legends 15th anniversary. There we go. The autofocus always fails on you when they want it to. Yeah, it commemorates the 15th anniversary. Yeah. Not that great of a game, especially when it comes to the Megazord, the robot fights, where you need to use the stylus to do everything, and that's a pain in the fucking ass. Excuse my French. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Arcade Attack, a budget level game that was too expensive for what it offered. Their claim that it was a return to form with Turtles in Times and things of that nature, but it really isn't. It's fucking horrible. It's a flat out lie. It's terrible. Don't fucking play it ever. I don't care if it's like $1. Just don't. Has some nice comic book art scenes, like for the cutscenes, but the gameplay is just terrible. Ultimate Mortal Kombat contains a nice port of Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3, and it also includes Puzzle Combat, which is the Mortal Kombat puzzle game that came with one of the 3D Mortal Kombats from a few years back. And I bought this mainly for Puzzle Combat, but it's a nice port of Ultimate MK3 here. Certainly better than what you got in the Game Boy Advance. So. And Mortal Kombat has had a rather spotty history, in terms of portable gaming. I think that's like a good effort, for lack of a better term. Contra 4, which some would say is a return to form for the Contra series. Return to 2D, and it was, just as fun of a game, as playing the older ones. So, Retro Game Challenge. Pretty nifty concept here, where you got to play games that were based on well-known classics. So you had a game based on Star Soldier, you have a game based on Galaxian, things of that nature. It's a nifty little idea. Kind of wish they did more of these. I think they did more of these, but only in Japan, and it's a bit of a shame because it's a nice little idea that should be revisited in some form or another. Yeah. Kirby Superstar Ultra, which is an updated version of Kirby Superstar when it was for the Super Nintendo, and this was the best way of getting Kirby Superstar without forking over a fortune for the Super Nintendo card. Of course, it's on the Virtual Console, and if you manage it, it's also on the Kirby's Dream Collection for the Wii, which that's fun. Castlevania, Portrait of Ruin. Probably out of all the Metroidvanias that they put out, this is probably the one I like, if only because there's more visual variety than the other ones. I know some people don't care for that one, but I kind of like it. Then you got Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, which people swear up and down by, but I personally don't care for it. Not a fan. Personally, give me a Castlevania where you got a guy with a whip, you know, and I'm happy. And that you could this you could have called anything else. You didn't need the Castlevania name. You know, quite honestly. Yeah, Mega Man ZX Advent or ZX Advent has nothing to do with the ZX Spectrum. Would have been funny if they made this for that, but okay, never mind. I don't know. That's all right. You know, I never bothered with the first game, probably because I could never find it, but it was all right for what it was. You know, not something I go back to every not something I go back to religiously, but it's all right. You got the Mega Man Zero collection, because this was the only way I was going to get to play the whole Mega Man Zero series. I only have the first one on GBA, and no way in hell was I going to find the other ones. Sonic Classic Collection, which is a compilation of Sonic's 1, 2, and 3, Sonic and Knuckles, and the lock-on versions. It's better than what you got in the Game Boy Advance with Sonic the Hedgehog Genesis, which was a piece of shit. No way around that. And next up we have Namco Museum DS, which has all your usual suspects. You know, your Pac-Mans, Galaga, Galaxy, and that sort of thing. And finally, we got Konami autofocus fail. I guess you could make out, there we go, Konami Classics Series Arcade Hits, which contains a number of Konami arcade games like Contra and Gradius and things of that nature. So that's a nice little stack that we have here. Much like the PSP games, I used to have the original boxes that I would store away because I would keep the DS cards in this, because it's, you know, more space happy. But I don't have the boxes anymore because I lost them, and I feel sad, I guess. I don't know. Probably had a big cleanups at some point, and they were misplaced. That's all I remember. Sorry. So, anyways, that's the Nintendo DS collection, circa September 2015, and that's all I got. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Till next time, take care, good night. Hopefully, you'll get another one of these next week. So, later.